Hello everyone, Trick is the name, and this is my video game news cap for the week. I want to start off with actually some pretty awesome news. EA loses its license with Star Wars. Now, don't get me wrong, lately with Jedi Fallen Order and Squadrons, they actually did do a pretty good job with like the Star Wars license, but that has not been the case for a lot of the games they have made in the past, and all the big fiasco with microtransactions and everything else. And it just seems like it was really bad. And to me personally, I think when a company has a monopoly on a certain franchise, and you can only see those type of games made by that kind of studio, it kind of makes it so that they can do whatever they want. But if there's competition and there's a lot of different things to go on with it, and a lot of other people can use that license for other kind of games, now we can start to be able to see some really cool games coming out, because now there's such a competition. I don't care what anyone says, competition is really good, really good for business. A lot of businesses actually thrive on competition, and I always think that there should always be healthy competition in the market so that people can try different things. And I think it's really good that EA loses that license so that they might still be able to make Star Wars games, but now we will start seeing other companies start working on some licensed games for Star Wars, and maybe we'll see the Old Republic coming back. I loved Star Wars: The Old Republic. That was one of my favorite games back in the day, and I wouldn't mind seeing them do something with it in the modern day technology kind of stuff. How cool would it be if we saw a Dragon Age Mass Effect, or a Cyberpunk style Star Wars universe kind of game? Less bugs obviously, but I just think that's really cool. So I'm actually really excited to let you guys know that we might start seeing some really cool Star Wars games coming out from other companies other than EA. And even though again they did a pretty good job with the last two games, but I feel like we can start seeing some really good Star Wars game now starting to come out. But what do you guys think? Do you think that's actually a pretty good idea? Do you think that actually will work out? Do you think EA should have kept the Star Wars agreement? Do you think they're going to stop making Star Wars games now they lost that license? Or do you think some really cool companies are now going to start putting their feet in the water of the Star Wars franchise? I think it's kind of cool. In other news, I actually want to talk about Peter Moore. So apparently he, which is the head of EA or FIFA, I can't remember what it was, or maybe he was actually retired from EA, but he still stands his ground saying that loot boxes is not gambling, which, oh my god, it's another huge company, huge $1 million person who's oh yeah, no, counting his money from all the money he's made off the loot box. It's yeah, no, it's totally not gambling. Of course not. Just keep at it. If you have that dopamine levels of you trying to get that one item and just so close but you couldn't get it, no, just keep going. Just trust me, it's not gambling. You just have a weird feeling that you just really want to get this item. Just keep giving your money and you'll 100% get it eventually. It's no, 100% no. Guys, it's totally gambling. It shows the same symptoms as regular gambling. They like to use that whole oh well, you still get something back, so it's not gambling. When you put gambling, regular kind of slot machines, you put money in and you might not get anything back. But that's not the point. When it comes to gambling, the whole feeling and the craving and the addiction that you get from that kind of stuff is actually not from the actual payoff. It's actually very interesting. People are more excited for the attempt to get something than the actual item. Don't get me wrong, they'll probably be very happy to get the item, but the thrill and excitement of getting, putting your money in and then getting that, oh my god, I can almost get it, I can feel it, it's about to happen, that feeling, that's where the addiction comes in. That's where the whole gambling aspect is in loot boxes. You still might not be able to get the item, but in this case, you could. And you just need to put a little bit more money and you might still have a chance of getting it. And that's how loot boxes and gacha machines and all these kind of things actually thrive on, because you are not trying to really get the item, but the thrill of maybe getting the item is the main thing. And I just think it's dumb when I keep on hearing these people saying, oh yeah, no, as I take more of your money, you can totally just be fine and putting more money to it, because obviously it's not gambling. But really what it is that they don't want to turn their game into like a mature rated content, because that is technically gambling. And like, even though it's digital, and people say that, well, you can't turn the digital into real currency, so it's not gambling, but people usually sell accounts that has a whole bunch of stuff that actually had people put a lot of money into, and they can sell that, which is technically still using it as gambling. So I don't know. Again, I don't mind loot boxes, I don't mind gacha machines, I know how to limit myself and not being able to go overboard in that kind of sense. But there's a lot of people out there who should not be getting into it and not actually get that addiction. And there should be a warning level for those people, especially kids. Like, kids should not be into that loot box system that's going on. That is definitely more of an adult thing. And there's a reason why kids can't do lottery systems, is because they could get addicted and it would destroy them. Like, I've heard so many stories of kids just putting money away because they just love the thrill, maybe getting their favorite character in something. And that's not what you should do for kids. Like, come on guys, it's 100% gambling. Stop saying it's not gambling. Everyone says it's gambling. The only people who are not saying it's gambling are people who are making the money off the gambling. Oh my god, like, can we still like get rid of this stupid notion of the rich people, like, hey, it's gambling, but we just don't want to say it because then we'll lose money. And you know about rich people, they don't like losing money. But what do you guys think? Maybe I'm just talking off my butt on this kind of situation. I 100% believe that this is 100% gambling, but it's not a bad thing. It just, they should warn people, kids and people who have some kind of tendencies to go kind of addicted to these kind of gambling things, and there should be a warning level on those kind of stuff, because people who are like me, or maybe like you, who are actually not that affected when this kind of stuff, you can still enjoy the game just fine. But there should still be a warning for like people who cannot have that feeling of gambling in their lives, because they really, it's not healthy for them. It's not. Another really funny thing actually happened I'm really happy about is apparently there's a story that's resurfacing into the web nowadays, and apparently there was a chance that Microsoft could have bought out Nintendo. Apparently when Nintendo was still kind of newish and Microsoft was still kind of newish, they're both really still pretty big companies, but Microsoft wanted to like buy off Nintendo. They went up to Nintendo and they're like, hey, Sony has better product than you, they have better hardware, and they are beating you in sales. You should let us buy you to help you get some of that equipment so that you can overpower them. What do you say? And it's just funny because Nintendo literally laughed at them in their faces, saying, you guys are terrible. Of course they didn't say that you guys are terrible, but apparently for what the quote pretty much says is that they felt like they were being laughed at for over an hour, which I know I've never really laughed that long before, but to just have the idea that Nintendo, like Mario, pretty much laughing in the faces of Microsoft, saying, you guys go away, you guys have no idea what you're talking about. And look at it now, Nintendo is doing freaking amazing. They are still one of the top gaming like companies out there. Like, they are like in the league of their own. A lot of people like to say that, oh yeah, there's console wars between Microsoft and Sony and those kind of stuff. And even though Microsoft liked to wish that they are not in a console war, they pretty much will always be in the console war against Sony until like they try something like not Nintendo does. Nintendo will always make their money and always do really good, so they're kind of in their own bracket, and they kind of do their own thing and they make a lot of money from it. But Microsoft wishes they can be in something like that. But I don't know, it's just hilarious to like just think of like Mario just laughing in the face of like Master Chief or something. I don't know, just like the little characters, I can see it. But I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you think that was funny? Oh, do you think Nintendo maybe made a bad choice and Microsoft should have bought them? Maybe we would have seen something like a Microsoft Nintendo mix. I wonder what that would look like. I wonder if Nintendo would have been as big as they are today, or they could have been bigger. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. I'd be very interested in seeing what you guys say about that. And last thing I want to talk about is actually just freaking. So Twitch just likes to ban a lot of things, and apparently they banned the Pog emote, the Pogchamp emote, of that guy opening his mouth out, and like, Okay, so this is actually a little bit more legit than before, because apparently that guy actually had a lot of bad flack with him, and they didn't wanted this symbol be used for a character that actually has done a lot of bad things. So they actually changed it. So instead of actually just removing Pogchamp completely, and you can't actually use that anymore, they actually just changed the icon so it'd be different for each and every one, and let people who are streamers use their own icon as Pogchamps, that's kind of how you should do it. You know, don't just remove the entire thing of Pogchamp. It's just like, no, this one is banned, you cannot use that, because that's like one of the most popular like phrase in Twitch stream. You know, I know at least me, even with a low like amount of people who watch my stuff, I still see Pog and Pogchamps on there, and which is pretty insane for me. But I know, what did you guys say? Do you guys want to see me do a Pogchamp? No, I'm not gonna do that. Like you can have your own Pogchamps in the chat whenever we do some awesome streams. But actually, I'm pretty excited for Twitch. Good job on you guys. You did a good job. Did good job. I'm happy for that. Alright, that wraps it up for me this week. I just wanted to discuss some of the interesting topics. There's some other things I could have talked about, like Tencent losing a battle with a Chinese company that you might be interested in, the Hawaii. Okay, I don't know how to pronounce that, I do apologize. Or this censorship that's going on with one of Top Hat's games, which actually looks really cool. Actually, I'm actually kind of excited about that game. I kind of want to play it. It looks really cool. So I don't know, would you want to watch me play this game? I'd be totally down for it. And also, if you guys are watching from this so far up, thank you, by the way. I like it when people watch all the way to the end of my videos. I do appreciate it. But also, really quick, before you actually click off of this, I have a new Discord server. I actually have a friend who's actually made me a Discord server, and I am now trying to get my community over to join in on my Discord server. They will actually be in the link in the description below for you guys if you guys want to join in. You know, let's talk. You know, let's talk about video games. Let's talk about some interesting things. You know, I want to get a community together. It seems like people are really interested in some of the things we talk about, and you know, like, join in. We apparently have cookies, and we talk about Genshin Impact a lot, and there's also a lot of Kirby's. So yeah, seems fun. Join in, you know, put your own little flair into it. I think it would be fun. But until then, I hope you guys see me in the next week when I talk about the next video game news. And yeah, I hope you guys have yourself a nice day. Bye.